Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here for the first time, I welcome you. I appreciate you stopping by. This is LANCESCURV, the Scurv podcast. I'm your host. And we go deep on many topics here, and especially these days, I'm just on a roll with speaking about human nature. And today, this particular topic is titled, Why Strong Men Stop Chasing. Why Solitude Forges the Strongest Men. And I speak from experience because there was a time in my life when I used to have so many people around me, whether it's online or in person, and a good amount of them are still around me as close friends, but many of them have weeded themselves out. And that's a good thing because you can travel lighter. But with me as a man in this society, and especially as a melanated man, our roles are constantly under attack. Many of us don't see ourselves as we should. If you could think back, not too long ago, and that depends on your chronological age, but if you could think back to the 70s, the 60s, yes, we had issues back then, but we had more of a brotherhood. Now, this is not a talk against women. I'm talking about fortifying who we are as men so we can be better men for women, our women. And the thing is, probably it would be good on another subject to state how many of our women have gotten away from who they really are supposed to be. And I'll leave it at that. White feminism has destroyed the black woman. That's a whole other topic. I'm speaking about the men right now. And if you want me to speak about that topic in a certain way, just let me know. Just drop a comment or hit me up. My WhatsApp number is on the banner and you can always reach out to me. But anyway, I've gone through this period in my life and I've come out on top and much better. But I will say, the strongest man you will ever meet is not loud. He does not announce his healing. He does not post his growth on social media. He does not ask for permission to become better. His strength was built quietly during moments when no one was watching and no one was cheering him on. That kind of strength does not come from never breaking. It comes from breaking, stepping away, and rebuilding himself without an audience. See, many of us work so hard to appear as though we don't get broken. And I don't mean permanently broken, but affected by the things that happen to us in our life, which can be from various categories. It doesn't have to be just one thing. But we can get worn down. We can suffer loss, the loss of loved ones. We can suffer a relationship breakup that we felt had some promise, but the other party didn't want to work it out. There are many ways to be broken. You might have a child that's not doing as well, or maybe a sick relative that you have to care for, and it can weigh on you. So these are things that women can go through also, but I'm speaking about the brothers today. So it's no shame in being broken, right? Many of us look at it as though it's a sign of weakness. No. If you stay there in that broken state and repeat that particular time period that broke you like a broken record, then maybe, you're going to need some help, as we all do at different points of our life. But when you can rebuild yourself by yourself without an audience, that's something that is more effective because you pulled yourself up with the strength that oftentimes you didn't realize that you had. I remember a period in my life when I went through a bad breakup. My mother was in the hospital. I was out of work. Oh man. You just don't know. And it was in that particular time period that I really had to face myself and ask myself certain questions and move forward. My mother eventually passed away a few months after, but there was something in me, like we have two arms, right? Two physical arms, but symbolically, it was like I had 6 arms, right? I'm not saying that I actually had 6 arms, but I'm saying this to mean that I had more strength when needed than I thought that I had. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, that period broke me. And I knew I couldn't go any lower. And I knew I had the capabilities to go higher. And I referred back to the lessons that my parents always taught me in different things. And I sprung into action. And I came back really strong. And so this is why I speak from experience. And for those who are going through things, don't ever believe that it's the end. Don't ever believe that you can never come back. See, you have to understand, I wouldn't even say come back. You never left. You just didn't realize what you had on the inside. There's a moment in a man's life when he realizes that explaining his pain only keeps him tied to it. Talking to the wrong people drains him. Seeking understanding from those who benefit from his confusion keeps him stuck. That realization often hurts, but it also clears the path forward. Silence becomes less about withdrawal and more about focus. That's the beautiful thing with that. When you realize other people will try to put on you that you have withdrawn, you're not the same. No, this is a period of healing and building, and you have to focus. If you're going through things, the worst thing you can do is try to distract yourself. I mean, yes, you're going to live, you're going to eat food, you're going to probably take in a show, be careful what you put in your mind. But that's normal. But when you have people who, when I said just a second ago, they benefit from your confusion, they're merely using it as entertainment. They're merely using it as a gauge to say to themselves, well, at least I don't have it that bad. And people feed on your pain. I mean, if you, let's just say symbolically, and I don't suggest people go to hospitals per se, because I don't trust those places. But if you had, in a perfect world, had to go to a hospital and heal up, and your body, your immune system was weakened, and you just run down, you weren't taking care of yourself, and you got a sickness that really knocked you down because you really weren't as strong as you should have been from self-care. Do you get up out of the hospital bed when the nurses are not looking and go down to the local nightclub to have a few drinks and party and dance? Even just to sit there? No, because your immune system is weakened and it needs to be rebuilt. So you need solitude, you need isolation to focus on you getting well. But we don't realize that. It's funny because as I was walking down the steps from my top floor just a little while ago before I started this, it hit me. I'm like, I feel good, but I'm almost 63 years old. I need to take care of myself even more. Not that I'm not. I'm getting good food, good rest, good, righteous solitude and isolation from things that are bad and toxic people. But I'm at a point now where I need to amp it up. I need to be real strong, right? And sometimes, no matter what age we are, no matter what chronological age we are, we forget that sometimes because we feel we can go on forever. And so this is why I make sure to take care of myself even more so, because I don't want that year as an older man where I went from 100% to 25%. And they say, man, last year he was looking real good, but look what happened now. No, I have no problem with aging. but you're not going to wear me down. And that's the way I felt at any age. Take care of yourself. The solitude is good. And when a man chooses solitude, it's not because he hates people or relationships. It's because he understands that clarity cannot grow in constant noise. In isolation, he hears his own thoughts clearly for the first time. He confronts his flaws without excuses and his strengths without false humility. That is where real self-trust begins. And let me ask you, when was the last time you heard this term, self-trust? Probably not in a long time, if at all. Self-trust. Trusting yourself. A lot of us can't even trust ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. A lot of us have major and growing addictions that we can't resist. And we should be able to trust ourselves to be able to move out of that space so we don't indulge in self-destructive behavior. But do you trust yourself? If I put you in certain situations where it's extreme temptation for things you know you shouldn't be doing, can you resist? Can you chaperone yourself out of that situation? Can you say to yourself, stating your name and saying, listen, this is not good for you. You need to be gone. It might be drugs. It might be gambling. It might be walking away from a fight. Maybe you have anger management problems, but self-trust. Can you come out of yourself and out of your emotions to be able to guide yourself properly as another person who's looking over you would? You know, celebrities have bodyguards for a reason, not just to protect their physical body, but to also have the wisdom to guide them to avoid certain situations if you are a good bodyguard, right? But self-trust, think about it. Solitude teaches a man responsibility, not blame, not shame, but ownership. He stops seeing himself as a victim of circumstances and starts seeing himself as the architect of his future. This shift is subtle, but once it happens, nothing feels the same again. His standards rise because his self-respect does. I mean, we live in a world where when you have high standards, it's almost looked down upon by many people. The social media generation, where decadence rules, ratchet fights, decadent behavior, nudity, sex, just wayward, just do what you want, Sodom and Gomorrah. Just anything goes. How low can you go? And when you really look back, look at the present year and the things that the masses feast on and also that are put in front of you in your algorithm. Have you gone on certain social media platforms, pretty much this one? I don't want to say the name and trigger some AI to come look at me. But haven't you thought sometime like, wait a second, this wouldn't have happened years ago. This level of having a lack of respect and lack of self-respect, this would have been broadcast out there. And the accessibility to porn and all things violent and all things blasphemous. I remember, and I've said this before in earlier shows, I remember back in maybe, let's say, the middle 70s. I was born in 63, so pretty much most of 75, I was 12 years old. So they would have these different shows on TV, and all we had was channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, channel 21, 31, 41, and 47. And 41 and 47 were the Spanish-speaking channels, but I still watch boxing on them, right? Hit me up in the comments if you remember that. If you remember that time period. There was no cable, no nothing. But there were shows on Channel 13 especially that they would make an announcement in the beginning. Due to mature subject matter, parental discretion is advised. And I remember they had this show called I, Claudius. And women at certain points were walking around with their breasts out. And a couple of curse words were spoken. Oh boy, the next day in school, we had a huddle around. Did you see that? She was walking around with her breasts out. Did you hear what they said? They said B-I-T-C-H. Wow. Now, you grab your smartphone. You look into it. You scroll and you go where you want to go. And a lot of us as men go to certain places where you see a lot of that stuff. But we're numb to it. It's a different society. And I also have to say that black manhood is under attack big time. And many people don't understand why. But the main reason, the racism and the attacks on us, especially as men, genetic white annihilation. That's in the back of the minds of many people who treat you the way they do when they don't like you just because of the color of your skin, because that represents their extinction. If you really look at it, they'll call us minorities. And I know I'm off point right now, but I just had to say this as an addendum. Us as so-called minorities in the United States, we're part of the world majority. This is why they do not want you to unite with others who look like you over the globe, because now your mindset would shift. You don't walk around apologetic when you know that you are the majority in the world. The black, the brown, the red, the yellow, right? So this is why you get this treatment. This is why they're trying to effeminize you, reduce you, have you incarcerated, locked up, feeding you chemicals that reduce the strength of your ability to reproduce. And how can you reproduce when you're locked up? And for those who use each other as men for friction, like I always say, and I won't say it as lewd, there's no life in the next man's anus. They don't mind that. This is why they push for that so much, to chemically castrate you and point you in that direction. So when you rebuild yourself, it's not just because of just an incident or a period in your life. As a black man, I'm speaking, maybe others don't have these issues. We gotta go deep. And you will be resisted when folks can sense that you are different once you are rebuilt. You know, you can have a project in your home. It could be something that didn't work properly or just wasn't done right the first time. And you bring a contractor over to assess the situation. He sees what needs to be done and he goes about doing his work. Well, in the middle of doing his work, he notices a bigger problem. So he tells you what it is. And he tells you the issues that would happen if you don't take care of this thing immediately. Sometimes these guys will pad the need for more work to get more pay. Understood. But many times that's not the case. So when we go deep to rebuild ourselves, we might discover other things that we need to attend to. Because really and truly, our mental health, our spiritual well-being, and of course our physical health, as well as emotional. How many of us nurse this as maintenance? How many of us don't even think about it until something goes wrong. Do you drive your car and never change the oil, never tune it up? And if it starts breaking down, it may be too late. You might be able to repair it, but there's damage to the parts from the wear down. So we have to bask in healing all the time. Because, say for example, we're walking around at 15% of our potential of who we should be. Yes, nobody's 100%, but let's shoot for it. Let's shoot for 125%. Why? Because this world will eat at you and try to tear you down. And wherever you stand, it takes them away. So let's be at least 125%. So if this world on a daily basis over months takes away 15%, we're still 110%. You can raise that number up higher. But you have to be vibrating at your fullest, and you can't vibrate at your fullest unless you heal up and unless you take the time, because you can't heal in noise. Come on, man, let's go to the club. Let's hang out. They got some pretty girls over there. Sure they do. And that can be very appealing to a point, depending on your state of mind. But no. When you heal, you will attract what's right for you. Because the way you walk and the way you talk and the energy that comes through your eyes, through your gaze, will let the next person know that you're not to be played with. It's not a violent, aggressive thing. It's just a riffraff thing. Riffraff doesn't approach you when you're serious about your life and serious about your business. And yes, you're gonna laugh, you can have fun, all of those good things. But the low vibrational people kind of know not to mess with you. Like a smaller animal in the jungle sees the lion. The lion is not showing its teeth all day long. The lion might be there half asleep, but there's something about that lion that lets that other animal know, I better not even wake him up or mess with this animal. Because I know, it's a knowing. And you got to dig it deep in your healing and have a firm foundation to come back. And I said come back, but you never left. But to return as strong and over 100% because of the vibrations that are negative pulling on us on all levels in this world. A man like that does not need belief from others anymore. He has already proven himself to himself. That internal approval becomes unshakable, and it changes how he moves through the world. When a man heals alone, something deep inside of him changes. He no longer looks outside of himself for emotional completion. He stops asking others to define his worth. That inner stability cannot be taught by books or speeches. It's forged through discomfort, reflection, and disciplined solitude. Inner stability. Forged through discomfort. Let's talk about that. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. And like I said before, I would say 100% of the people don't wake up in the morning time and say, yes, today I'm just looking forward to be uncomfortable. No. See, pleasure and pain are two of the most highly motivational places. I say places because it can be in our mind also, it can be in a physical place. But that state of mind are highly motivational. We don't want the pain, but we want the pleasure. And this is why when you see men, and I'm speaking about men today, who all they do is seek pleasure, you never really have a foundation to build strength when you're a hedonistic person who wants to jump from one state of mind with pleasure to another. It actually loses its power. I can't even say power because pleasure is not power. Its effect, its effectiveness. Okay, put it this way. This is why when people eat cookies, they want to drink milk. They don't eat cookies and drink soda. No, because it's too sweet and it cancels out each other. You see what I mean? Everything can't be sweet. Everything can't be pleasure. Because now it's just too overwhelming and the pleasure itself is reduced. Look at the people who have lots of money who have this mindset, because not everybody who has money is just a pleasure-seeking individual. You have people who have wealth and they're building, they're thinking about the future. I understand that. But say a person came into some money, but they weren't anchored with wisdom to be able to handle that money. And now it's all about pleasure because they never experienced having that amount of money in their bank account. And in a short period of time, that person literally unalives themselves because it was too much for them. They weren't anchored. See, that's why I say it is forged through discomfort, but on a willing level. It doesn't mean you have to walk around uncomfortable all the time. No, doesn't mean that. But to me, and like I said this to a brother the other day, I said, being in your comfort zone completely does nothing for you. It weakens you. Because if you're always comfortable, that don't mean you're not supposed to be comfortable when you lay down to go to sleep. Enjoy your rest. All I'm saying is that you have to push beyond what you know. You have to go somewhere that you may have a little fear in going. Fear of the unknown. And how many times have you started a new job, went to a new school, new situation, you started some type of relationship with someone and now you're getting to meet their family, and there's that little bit of apprehension or even fear in your heart. And when you get to that job, you know you got the job because the interview, they called you and said that you have the position. And now you're thinking, oh, what is it going to be like? How are the people going to take me there that are going to be my new co-workers? How is that going to work out? And you have all of these thoughts in your head. Now, I'm not saying you're terribly afraid to leave out the next day and you're having anxiety. And yes, some people may have that. But check yourself in 6 months and you're like, man, this is part of my normal schedule. I'm so relaxed. What was I thinking about? So challenge yourself, because everything that's uncomfortable now will help you to grow and will be a gain in your life and on your resume. And resume doesn't just mean the resume you use for your job for interviews, but your own record, your own inner resume, when you know I've dealt with this situation and I've dealt with that situation and it's nothing to put fear in me. Maybe it does the next person because they didn't go through it. And just because you go through it doesn't mean you always learn the lesson of that particular incident. That's the bottom line. You see? So it changes you. Yes, it does. But it's a strength that's forged through discomfort. You're not going to get this strength forged through pleasure, hedonism, and comfort. No, it doesn't happen there. This process removes desperation. He no longer chases attention, affection, or validation. He no longer tries to convince people of his intentions or explain his boundaries. He understands that the right people will recognize him without a sales pitch. The wrong ones will leave and he lets them. And please, don't let them back. You don't need to go back. Because like I said the other day in the other video that I did, don't let them pull you back. When they see you winning, here they come again. You don't need that energy in your life. And that's part of the discomfort. When you lose friends or people turn away from you or turn against you, then they see you doing well. Here they come. Don't disgrace yourself by allowing those energies back. But in that place, this is where many misunderstand him. They call him distant or emotionally unavailable. But in reality, he has simply learned emotional discipline, emotional discipline, emotional discipline. He feels deeply, but he does not bleed everywhere. He chooses who has access to him, and that choice is intentional. During this rebuilding phase, a man also learns discernment. He sees the difference between respect and tolerance. He no longer excuses disrespect disguised as personality. He no longer accepts boundaries that shift only when they are convenient for someone else. This is not bitterness, it's clarity. A man who heals alone becomes calm, not because life got easier, but because he did. His reactions shrink. His presence grows. His words become fewer, but heavier, more weight, more wisdom, more profound. People feel the difference, even if they cannot explain it. A man who finds completion within himself no longer approaches women from need. I have to say that again. A man who finds completion within himself no longer approaches women from need. He does not seek to be fixed, rescued, or validated. This changes everything about how he relates to women. His interest is no longer rooted in hunger, but in alignment. Listen. There are a lot of men out here who complain about not ever finding a good woman. And I will admit, because it is feminism that has messed up the minds of a lot of women, I understand that. But to a point, there is a great percentage of men that bring it on themselves, right? Because you're looking to get fixed, rescued, or validated. I'm not saying you personally, but there are men out here who are like that, and it might be you personally. If you look within yourself, maybe, maybe not. I don't see who I'm talking to, but I know somebody's listening. So don't take it personal. But if your interest is not rooted in hunger, the various types of hunger, oh man, look at that backside, man, I gotta get with that. I want that. Oh man, she's a good cook. Oh man, she got a nice place. I'd love to live there with her. Those types of hunger, I mean, you do it to yourself. So now you're not looking at the woman in a way that you can align with her because you haven't aligned yourself. If you're out of whack, how are you going to attract something good? Pretty much if you're out of whack, nothing good is going to come towards you. It may look good. It may feel good as she is now your glorified friction provider. But orgasms don't equal or measure up to alignment of purpose, of character, of goals, of morale. So we're around here looking for comfort, and we get hell I'm not saying women are that, but there are some women who are, and they will hide their flaws and the fact that they didn't do work on themselves or get over the trauma they've been through. And so now it's one big mess and one big blame game. So if you take care of yourself, straighten yourself out, and find yourself with an inner alignment, purpose, drive, focus, you're not going to really attract those who are out there as playthings, floating from one relationship to the next. As the wind blows, the hairstyles change, the eyelashes change, the tight dresses, and trying to attract a man on a lower level. You'll see past all of that. And the good thing is, a good woman has all of those assets. But that's not the prime reason. You want something better? Make yourself better. Remember, no longer rooted in hunger, but in alignment. He does not compete with women or try to dominate them emotionally. He also does not submit himself to tests, games, or chaos to prove his worth. He understands that peace is not boring and respect is not optional. If a woman cannot meet him with softness instead of competition, he quietly steps away. This man does not chase affection or tolerate emotional confusion. He listens closely, not just to words, but to patterns. He values consistency more than intensity. He understands that attraction without respect eventually becomes exhaustion. Seriously, the attraction is like that little starter flame or that spark on an electric cooktop, or one that is gas. If there's no respect, that attraction, what does it mean? If there's no gas to catch the spark to become fire and a flame, then what's the use? This is why we jump from one relationship to the next, or you're with one and you're not fully immersed in this relationship because of the alignment that you're supposed to have, and you're in the bed with this woman thinking about that beautiful backside that you saw at the mall. Let's just be real and raw about it. You're using that woman really for masturbatory purposes because your mind's not there with her, because you're not connected with her, because you're not connected in line with yourself. So you'll never be happy. You're filling a cup that has no bottom, so all the water falls on the floor. And you wonder why. One situation after the other. And the best part of it is the phase where you all are wearing a mask, pretending to be something that you're not, until you find out what you're really all about and what that person's really all about. Ain't that something? And now you're exposing yourselves on social media, or exposing the partner that you had on social media, but all the time you were talking about them so great in that little honeymoon phase that you were in. You see? This man does not chase affection or tolerate emotional confusion. He listens closely, not just to words, but to patterns. He values consistency more than intensity. He understands that attraction without respect eventually becomes exhaustion. Because he healed alone, he does not fear walking away. He knows loneliness is survivable, but self-betrayal is not. This makes him grounded in relationships. He is present without being dependent and committed without being controlled. When he meets a woman who understands peace, respect, and emotional maturity, she will feel safe with him not because he's passive, but because he's stable. She will understand why he guarded his peace so fiercely before her arrival. The growth gained in solitude does not stop at romance. It reshapes a man's friendships as well. He stops maintaining relationships out of history alone. He looks for loyalty, honesty, and mutual respect. He realizes connections that drain him without explanation. He no longer needs to be the loudest voice in the room. He no longer needs to prove intelligence or toughness. His confidence speaks quietly. His boundaries speak loudly. This attracts better people and repels opportunists. In his daily life, this man becomes deliberate. His routines tighten. His habits improve. His goals become personal, not performative. He measures success by peace, progress, and self-mastery rather than applause, followers, or likes. This man understands that solitude is not isolation. It's preparation. It's where he sharpens his mind, strengthens his discipline, and learns to trust himself fully. Like I always like to say, it's a time to sharpen the sword. When he re-enters the world, he does so with intention. When the rebuilding at this point is complete, chasing no longer makes sense. Chasing is rooted in lack. And this man no longer feels incomplete. He does not pursue people who do not value him or situations that cost him his peace. This is often misinterpreted as coldness. It's not. It's emotional maturity. He has learned that clarity is kinder than chaos, and distance is healthier than resentment. He chooses alignment over attachment. He chooses respect over familiarity. He chooses peace over potential. These choices protect everything he worked so hard to build in silence. The man who rebuilds himself alone becomes his own foundation. He does not crumble when others leave because he already knows how to stand by himself. His silence is not weakness. It was training. It was discipline. It was the fire that refined him. When he returns to relationships, he does so whole, not hoping someone will complete him, but open to sharing life with someone who compliments him. This man does not need to announce his strength. You feel it in how he moves, how he listens, and what he refuses to tolerate. And when you meet a man like this, you will understand exactly why he protected his peace so fiercely. And again, once again, protecting your peace. That's your foundation. You can't have a good foundation to undergird you for greatness, to manifest the seeds of greatness inside of you if you live a life of chaos. Now we're speaking about the brothers today. We're speaking about the men. How many of you have met a very attractive woman who initially caught your eye? Not just because of the physical form or the pretty face, but because her personality, and it just appeared as though she was peaceful. It pulled you to her. But in actuality, you filled in the blanks. You ignored the red flags. Not that the red flags appear right away, but after a time you realize that this woman is full of chaos. And it really shocks you because of what you previously thought of her. It may come out in some type of dispute that really should be minor, but she blows up on a major level over something minor, which lets you know there are other issues going on. There are other wounds that she has not healed from yet. So now you take a step back. You're not rejecting her, but you say, hey, let me take a step back. Hey, look, I always say it. If you have a beautiful picture on the wall, say the frame is 8 feet wide by 8 feet tall, and it's a huge picture, and you got close to it, and you actually put your nose on the picture, you really can't see the full picture because your nose is touching it and your eyes can only see a small part. So what do if you want to see the full picture? You simply step back. You step back enough to put the whole total picture in focus to understand what that picture is all about. And that's the problem with us as men. We jump into things too fast because it looks good, without acknowledging the fact that we have to ask ourselves, are we in alignment already within ourselves? Are we healed? How many people know people, whether it's yourself or somebody else, they call it the rebound effect, that you break up with somebody and you quickly find yourself back in another so-called relationship, which really isn't a relationship. It's a placeholder and really a pseudo comfort zone from the pain of the loss of that relationship. I've seen 2 people get into the rebound effect, where there were 2 people, a man and a woman, who were with other people. And they both went through a bad breakup. They didn't know each other, but they happened to find each other. I forgot how they met, but when the truth came out, they were using each other to avoid the pain and the work that needed to be done within themselves. How many of us are using someone as a pacifier? Now, you know the pacifier will shut the baby up, but after a while, the smart baby spits the pacifier out because the baby thinks it's going to suck the pacifier, the nipple, and get milk. So it's suckling the pacifier and nothing's come through. No milk, no nutrition. So here you are with the pacifier of a rebound relationship, expecting the full range of what a relationship can give. And oftentimes, you begin to resent that pacifier because it's not doing for you what you thought it would do. How many of us have experienced that? And I don't expect anybody to really admit that, because a lot of us are not going to put our lives out there and say certain things. But in the midnight hour, and you can listen to this monologue anytime, but in your solitude, you know who you are and where you are. And we always talk about keeping things real. Why don't we keep things real with ourselves? Why don't we focus on ourselves and look to bring ourselves up so we can be better men? Because really and truly, if you are a better man in alignment and not sweeping certain characteristics that you know are not good under the rug, that's going to limit you on how you can maintain a complementary relationship where you complement each other because you're full, because you're complete. Don't look for completion in external things. This is why many of us end up in relationships that are not good for us, because we wanted that pacifier, or we end up in cults or groups that echo the same feeling that's not going to help us to get better. We're just a bunch of sick people, not going anywhere. I've seen that also. You have these Facebook groups where you have men who constantly say, oh, the women are bad, the women are no good, these women are trash. And other guys come in with their stories and, What is that doing? Is that making you better? Just because you had certain specific situations, it doesn't mean every woman is bad. It may mean, like I said, that you're incomplete and you need work to bring yourself into alignment to meet the good woman who's not going to do you wrong. But you're chasing physical bodies or facsimiles of what you think the perfect woman is, which, male or female, nobody's perfect. You have to learn to deal with the fact that each of us has work to do on ourselves. And if you understand that and have the same morale, characteristics, and respect yourself, you'll be okay. And then and only then can you complement each other in your journey of growth. Because like I always say, you want to be better tomorrow than you are today. Hopefully today you are better than you were yesterday. You're more enlightened. You have more wisdom. You have more vision. Your path is clearer to you. And when your path is clearer to you, the journey gets a little easier. No matter what speed bumps or potholes are in the road, they will pop up occasionally. But when you know that you're getting better, when you know that you're tuned up and working in an optimal way, then you know that you'll be all right at the end of the day. I hope that these words motivated you to look within. I'm not a guru. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything, because you know what? I got my own work to do constantly. So even when things are done and you're at that 125%, I'm still looking. I'm still looking. You can sweep the sidewalk, clean off your front yard, and somebody can come along and drop a piece of paper and some trash. I'm going to go pick it up. It's called maintenance. Maintain yourself. Keep yourself in that place. That's the only way you're going to improve and live a life where you get better year by year. It's just like the cars that you see. You see a brand new Honda, a brand new Toyota, a brand new Mercedes. Every model, every year, they try to make it better. You look at the cars from back in the old days and compare it to now, you say to yourself, I wouldn't get one of those cars now if I had a choice. Of course, they were a lot cheaper back then, but they get better. That's the only way they can appeal to you to cause you to spend so much money to buy a new vehicle, which these days is getting out of the reach of many people. That's a whole different subject. But think of it that way. When someone from your past meets you, what do they think? Have you regressed? Or have you gotten better? And they may not know in passing how much you've gotten better in what areas, but they can sense it. It's the maturity. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the confidence you have because you know that you're a better version of yourself than you were last year, than you were last month, than you were yesterday. How about that? But it's been wonderful talking with you. I'll let you digest these words if you got this far in the video, because you know I'm talkative and I have to sometimes slow myself down. But as always, it's wonderful. And I enjoy this, and I look forward to the next one, which will come later on today. And I want to thank you for your support. And I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you great health, a great mentality, great friendships, and the best version of yourself tomorrow than you were today. Much love to you all. I truly appreciate you. Scurv out. On to the next one. Peace.